Kalderon Adizes. Today's date is August 3rd, 2025. We're having an Israeli-Palestinian Confederation meeting with Dr. Ichak Kalderon Adizes. We are proposing a federal government for the people of Israel and Palestine for the purpose of making peace, a government that will be separate and independent of the Israeli and the Palestinian government. We are not calling for the dismantlement of the Israeli or the Palestinian government. We are calling for the creation of an independent, separate government for the people of Israel and Palestine. You could see our website. I usually show the Constitution, but at this time, I would like to show a very interesting phenomena that started like in the last two weeks, where we're getting more and more Palestinians and Israelis, Jews, Christian, and Muslim, also in Palestine and in Israel, who agree to put their picture, their bio, in support of a federal government. This is a remarkable change in the last 2 weeks. And I think the change is because of what's going on in Israel, Palestine. The people of Israel and Palestine realize that the only solution is a federal government for that would be based on equality, based on a constitution, and we're getting a lot more support. So, by the way, if you want to support and have your picture and bio, send me an email to josephavasar@gmail.com and to be added to the to our website. We are getting people that are professors, politicians, previous politicians, journalists, regular people to support us. We did not have that phenomena before. Also, if you want to read the Constitution, it's in 3 languages, Arabic, Hebrew, and English. You can read it at ipconfederation.org. Today's guest is Dr. Ichak Kalderon Adizes. Dr. Ichak Kalderon Adizes is a globally recognized management consultant, academic, and author renowned for his groundbreaking work in organizational development in corporate life cycles. He is the founder and CEO of the Adizes Institute, where he developed the Adizes symbiotic methodology, a form of organization therapy, a transformative approach to managing change without destructive conflict. His methodology has been applied across various organizations, from startups to multinational corporations, to facilitate rapid change and optimize performance. He acted as an advisor to various governments around the world, including 6 prime ministers. Dr. Adizes was born in 1937 in Skopje, North Macedonia. After surviving the Holocaust, he moved with his family to Israel in 1948. He completed his undergraduate education and served in the Israeli Defense Forces. In 1963, he earned a PhD in business from Columbia University. He served as a tenured faculty member.
Tamara Garcia Reyes or Tamara Garcia.
He served as a 10-year faculty member at the UCLA Graduate School of Management, now UCLA Anderson School of Management, from 1967 to 1982. Additionally, he held visiting professorships at Stanford University, Tel Aviv University, and the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, and taught in Columbia University's executive program. In recognition of his contributions to management theory and practice, Dr. Adizes has received 21 honorary doctorates from universities around the world. Dr. Adizes has authored over 20 books, including notable titles such as Managing Corporate Life Cycles and The Ideal Executive. His work, Corporate Life Cycles, How Organizations Grow and Die and What to Do About It, was named one of the 10 best books by library journals. He resides in Santa Barbara, California, with his wife, Nurit Mani Adizes, and their 6 children. I met with Dr. Adizes about a few days ago. He also participated in our simulation. We're going to do things a little different today. We're going to show a little bit of slides about our IPC, and we speak about the short version of the Constitution. And then Dr. Adizes will give us his opinion about the current situation in Israel-Palestine and his opinion about the Confederation we are proposing. Next Friday, we're going to have a meeting at the Orange Public Library. That's the city of Orange, and that's at 10 a.m. I hope to see as many of you there as possible. On August 17, we will have a combined legislative effort in which we will work together to create a proposed legislation for the federal government to show how a federal government could pass legislation. So we will actually do that together. On August 31st, we will have Ronit Chitayat Kashi. She's an anti-Zionist Israeli of Iraqi descent. And I'd like to show you a short version of our vision in a video. It's 2 minutes long.
The conflict between Israelis and Palestinians has endured for generations. And instead of time healing the wounds, it's only caused the anger to fester and the violence to grow. But what if there was a way to alleviate the tension? Something that may not outright solve every problem, but at least create a forum that encourages a peaceful compromise. Welcome to the Israeli-Palestinian Confederation, a common third government between the Israeli and Palestinian citizens, specifically designed to foster peace, tolerance, and economic prosperity between the two nations. Here's how it works. First off, both Israel and Palestine will keep their respective governments. Israel's Knesset and the Palestinian National Authority will remain unchanged. The Israeli-Palestinian Confederation, IPC, will be a third entity acting as a unifying agent between the two. The IPC will comprise 300 parliament members elected from 300 districts in Israel, the West Bank, and Gaza. Above them will preside a president and vice president, one Israeli and one Palestinian. In order for the IPC to pass a law, it will require a 55% majority from its Israeli representatives, as well as a 55% majority from its Palestinian representatives, thereby preventing either side from monopolizing the legislature. Of course, the IPC won't undermine the political power of either the Israeli or the Palestinian government. At any time, Israel or Palestine may veto a law passed by the IPC. If neither side vetoes, the law is passed. And the two nations are another step closer to resolution. Please help us make this a reality. The Israeli-Palestinian Confederation. We might speak different languages, but we all mean the same thing.
So we normally hold a simulation to simulate what's in that video. And we normally hold, take a survey, but we're not going to do that. We are going to go as soon as possible to Dr. Adizes. Just wanted to go over the definition of a confederation or federation. Confederation, federal governments exist worldwide to address specific conflicts. Some governments refer to themselves as federal governments, while others use the term confederation. Definitions are not fixed and evolve with changing realities. In the context of Israel-Palestine, the IPC defines Confederation and Federation as a shared government for the people of Israel and Palestine, guided by democratic principles outlined in the IPC Constitution, which can be found at ipconfederation.org. We're not going to do the assumptions. We already did that with Dr. Adizes. Before I give the floor to Dr. Adizes, I would like to read the short version of the Constitution that kind of like summarizes it. It's the Constitution. We believe that Palestinians and Israelis are entitled to equal rights under the law and guaranteed human rights and freedom. The Israeli-Palestinian Confederation does not intend to supersede or supplant the Palestinian or Israeli governments, nor to abrogate or undermine any agreements between those governments. So we do not intend to be a subversive organization. We understand the existence of an Israeli and Palestinian government. Whatever they want to agree between themselves, constitutionally, we are required to do so. We recognize the need to work with the Israeli and Palestinian governments. Our purpose is to resolve conflicts and to expand the relationship between Palestinians and Israelis in a fair and equitable manner. We believe in equal rights under the law, guaranteed human rights, and freedom for all. We voluntarily give the legislator and the government of Israel and Palestine veto power over legislation we pass relating to the domain of control of those governments. We believe in the separation of power between the legislative, executive, and judicial branches. So we believe in creating a federal government that will be independent and separate from the Palestinian government, not a government that will be created by the Israeli or the Palestinian government, but will be created by the people of Israel and Palestine. We believe in the creation of a permanent secular government for all the people residing in Israel, Palestine. We believe in having separate judicial branch relating to IPC legislation with Israeli and Palestinian judges with a system to avoid biased decision based on nationality. So I'm going to stop sharing now. I'm going to give the floor to Dr. Adizes to let him speak about the concept of a federal government. Let me just stop sharing for some reason. And then we will open the floor for questions and answer to Dr. Adizes or to have a discussion. So Dr. Adizes, welcome and thank you for joining.
Good morning to everyone. Really, Joseph, I thank you very much for inviting me to speak because I think you are into something important and very valuable, and I would like to contribute to it with my experience of 50 years working with over 70 countries. I will divide my short presentation, I hope, so that we can devote time to questions and answers and discussion. First, why I believe in the Confederation. Second part will be why and what are the barriers for making it work. And number three is how yes to make it work, to overcome the barriers. So first of all, why we need it, what are the barriers to implement it, what do we need to do to overcome the barriers. That is my presentation. So let's start first with why do I believe in Confederation. So far, I've accumulated 8 possible solutions to the problem. And there are no more. I'm looking for people to give me the number 9. I cannot find number 9. And I talked to many, many, many people, leaders of the country and common people. What are the 8 alternatives? Look at them. Some of them are ridiculous, but we should look at all of them. Solution number 1 is the Palestinians move away. That's, by the way, what Gvir and Smotrich want. That's not going to happen. They're talking about millions of Palestinians. Second solution is we move away. That's not going to happen after the Holocaust. We are not going to move away. Solution number 3, they all die, which is some trying to do. That's not going to work. That we all die is not going to work either. So far, 4 solutions are not going to work. What is the 5th solution? One state. That's not going to work because the Israelis will never agree to lose the Jewish state, which was a dream of 2,000 years. What is solution number 6? God will solve it. Trust God. Well, he did not solve it during the Holocaust, so I would not rely on it now. What's left? 2 only alternatives left. There is no more. Look at reality. That's what we need to do. Look at the reality. There is a problem, and there are only 2 solutions left. One is 2 states, and the other one is to continue as is, do nothing. Which of the 2 solutions is better? To continue as is a disaster because we know from the theory of change that things do not stay in one place. They either get worse or better. And the rule is, unless you make it better, it gets worse. Your own house, your own car, whatever you have, you don't maintain it, it gets worse. And the situation in Israel is getting worse. October 7 is just another manifestation how bad it's getting. And it's going to get even worse if we don't make it better. Period. So the only alternative left, like it or not like it, there is no other solution. When I talk to Israelis, they say it's not a good solution. They give me all the reason why not. They say you're absolutely right. It's a very bad solution to 2 states. But we have a better one. Now, why I believe the 2 states is not good enough and we need a confederation instead? Because 2 states, as it is proposed now by France and Canada, etc., God forbid they do it, just 2 states. Hamas will get to power in no time. The hatred is still there. The fanatic wish of making Muslim religion dominate the world is still there. And it's going to be terrible. Oh, there are going to be international guarantees and warrants. It's not good. I don't trust it. Look what happened in Bosnia during the war there. United Nations forces were standing, doing nothing, while the people in Srebrenica were being slaughtered. I don't believe in international guarantees because they take care of their own interests. God forbid if we have to rely on their interests for our survival. So what's the solution? Confederation. But here are the barriers to the solution. Jewish people are traumatized people. 2,000 years of persecution, death, gas, you name it, expelled from country to country, having no home. Then the Holocaust. What happens to traumatized people? They live in fear. And what happens to people that live in fear? They use power to solve problems because they're in fear. And that is how Israel is behaving, believing the solution is through power. Beat them up until they can admit that there is Israel and they have to accept us. In the history of mankind, nobody has succeeded to beat a nation. You can beat them for a while, but then they rise up with the first opportunity they have. That is why the Americans left Afghanistan with a tail between their legs. That's why they left Iraq. That's why they left Iran. Not Iran, Vietnam. You cannot beat a nation. That is why Stalin did not go into Yugoslavia in 1948, when Yugoslavia separated from the Soviet Union orbit. He went to Hungary, he went to Czechoslovakia, but he did not go into Yugoslavia. Why? Because the Serb nation has a tradition of 500 years of fighting from the mountains of the Ottoman Empire. And you cannot fight people. You can fight a government, you can fight an army, but not people, because everyone there is a potential terrorist. Makes a Molotov cocktail bottle and throws it into a restaurant. You cannot catch them all. Impossible. So what's going to happen to states? No, we already said it's not going to work. Confederation. We need a confederation, but there is a problem with confederation. What is the problem? The Jews are traumatized people. They don't trust. They don't trust. They don't trust the Palestinians. They don't trust a solution. What is the danger in a confederation? As such, it might become Yugoslavia rather than Switzerland. Look at Yugoslavia. By the way, I was consulting to Milosevic, trying to avoid the war and the split, the breakdown of the Yugoslav Federation. And I told him, I know you came to power because of Kosovo. Kosovo belongs to us. Kosovo is Serbian. That's what got you to power. But if you continue fighting, you will lose all the power. I told him, what are you going to do with 2 million Albanians in Kosovo? Let's go down and kill them all. You cannot. Let's push them out. You cannot push them out. To where are you going to push them? Etc., etc. Same thing here. We fear. And if we fear, we are not going to accept the 2 states in any form. So what might happen? Might happen in Yugoslavia. And Yugoslavia fell apart. There is no Yugoslavia. And when I was consulting to Milosevic, I was wondering, why is Yugoslavia falling apart? Switzerland is not falling apart. Switzerland should fall apart. French, German, Italians together. They've been fighting every world war. How come they're together in Switzerland? And there is a difference. There is culture of mutual trust and respect in Switzerland that did not exist in Yugoslavia. And when there is no mutual trust and respect, marriages fall apart, partnerships fall apart, countries fall apart. And in the Middle East, there is no mutual trust and respect. Because we are traumatized, plus it's part of our culture, Jewish culture, to always put down the other party. We are the only nation in the world, I think, that I don't know at which celebration we go around with plastic, hit each other on the head. Manifest, what culture do we have? Put downs, cultures of put down. We don't have mutual trust and respect. They don't either. Shias, Sunnis, each other's throat all the time. Tribal society. How in that culture you're going to create a confederation? It's going to be Yugoslavia, Joseph. It's going to fall apart sooner or later because there is no mutual trust and respect. So what do we need to do to make the confederation realistic? We need to change that culture. God help us. It's not going to be easy. Not going to be easy. But we don't have a choice. I repeat, we don't have a choice. We are not going to live, they're not going to live, they're not going to die, we are not going to die. We don't have a choice. We need to develop that culture or we are going to all die. I want to tell you, this say we are all going to die, I'm not joking. My fear, as it gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, Israel is not going to disappear. 8 million people don't disappear. But it's going to get so bad, it's going to be unlivable. Like in Algeria, the Algerians kicked out the French. See the movie Algeria. It's going to be unlivable. And people are going to leave Israel. The young people are going to leave Israel. And then we have also the Haredim don't want to serve. So the people that are going to be protecting Israel are going to diminish in size and in motivation to continue, because you cannot continue this war. But we are not going to disappear. So what happens when it becomes really, really desperate? I'm not afraid of the Masada syndrome, that we are going to go to the mountain and commit suicide. That's not going to happen. Somebody wrote a book about it. I'm afraid of the Samson syndrome. He was tortured and tortured and tortured. And in the meantime, his hair grew up and became powerful. And what did he do? Tamut nafshi mapishtin. We might do that. We have been tortured for 2,000 years. Holocaust. Enough is enough. October 7, enough is enough. And it continues, and it continues, and it continues, and it continues. I believe at a certain point, somebody is going to push the button, and we are going to use Dimuna. We almost did it in October in the Yom Kippur War. Moshe Dayan recommended to Golda to use the bomb. Says, we are desperate, we need to use the bomb. She had the balls not to do it. Wow. But if Bibi Netanyahu was in power at that time, I can assure you they will use it. And if that happens, and it's not improbable, God help us. What the domino effect can be. 5.2 billion Muslims in the world. The expected war is not between nations anymore. It's going to be between the Muslim religion and the Christian Judeo-Christian. That is what's happening. That war is waiting to happen, and we are going to trigger it. So we need to change the culture. And here is how I would recommend to do that. Yes, Confederation, but with common institutions, not only the presidency, and not only the Senate, or whatever. No. That's a legal solution, guys. We need to do something sociological, cultural, and we need to institutionalize it. Not only to talk about it, it has to be institutionalized. What is it? I will have a common police to do what? To control Hamas on one hand and the Messianic Jews on the other hand. Those that are against the solution. They're going to undermine the Confederation in any way they can. So we need a police, internal security to control both parties. Number two, common Ministry of Education. Why? To start working on mutual tolerance, to start working on building mutual trust and respect. How? In Israel, part of the Confederation, we must learn Arabic, spoken Arabic. You cannot graduate high school without knowledge of Hebrew, Arabic, and English, period. Number two, we study the Muslim philosophy, and we study the history of the Arab world. and they learn Hebrew, the history of the Jewish people, and the Jewish Machshavat Israel philosophy. What am I talking about? Start developing mutual trust and respect. And like in Singapore, forbid any expressions of intolerance. In Singapore, if you write an article and say XYZ, comma, Chinese, you can be sued. Don't mention even who is who. We are all one. No intolerance allowed on both sides. And then number 3, Ministry of Economy, to encourage mutual enterprise, to develop what? Common interest from which might emerge mutual trust. Is it good enough? I'm afraid not. Because we have a problem in Israel. By separating, Zionism separated religion from nation. Before that, being Jewish was a nation and a religion. Now you can be Jewish nation without the Jewish religion. And I have several clients of mine in Israel, quite educated professors even, tell me I'm not Jewish, I'm Israeli. I'm Hebrew. I don't care for the religion anymore. Now, if there is peace and confederation, all those that don't have religion as a background will get assimilated in no time. Echad Am talked about Hitbolalut. We are very good at that. And then what's going to happen? What is all this Jewish country, home for the Jewish people? The whole thing becomes buha, buha, buha. So in addition to all of it, I will introduce back Jewish studies in schools. Today, the grandchildren of my sister go to a democratic school. They don't know Tanakh. They don't know anything about the Jewish religion. Nada. Look at all the Israelis that are outside of Israel. 1 million of them in Los Angeles. No connection to the Jewish community. On Yom Kippur, that's when they make mangal, and have a barbecue. No connection to the Jewish community. Zero. So what's going to happen to all of this, to the Judaism now? There is a lot of work that we have to do to change the culture with the Confederation. It cannot be done without it. So we can do it, but the Confederation has to do something more than just establish legal structure, because it will be Yugoslavia. We need to create Switzerland. And to create Switzerland, we have to create a culture of mutual trust and respect without losing our identity. And that's what I'm worried about. We will lose our identity if we don't do more than just looking for peace. I will separate state from religion, definitely. But have Jewish education. What do we need to do first? Because without that, Confederation will not happen. Here is what we need to do first. We need to solve the problem. That's what we want to do, right? We want to solve the problem. That is what we are talking here. That's what we are here for. Who should solve the problem? Usually people say who suffers the most. No. Not even who caused the problem. No. Whose problem is it? Who can solve it? Who can solve it? Regardless who caused it. Who can solve it? That is whose problem it is. Because he's the only one who can solve it. Who can solve it? The Palestinian problem. The Arab nations don't want to. They have shown it in many ways. The Egyptians don't let them even cross the border and gave up Gaza. The Jordanians killed them on the terrible Friday or whatever it was. Sabra Shatila in Lebanon. They cannot solve it. They don't want to solve it. The world, the Western, cannot solve it either. What are you going to do with millions of Palestinians? Where are you going to take them? What are you going to do? The Palestinians themselves cannot solve the problem. The only one who can solve the problem is Israel, and we are not taking responsibility. I talk with Israel, say it's not our problem. They in 48 left and they ran away and they did this. And then there are nations that don't expect the Jews, and because of that, now we have to do exchange of people. Guys, the only one who can solve it is us. And we have to do something. So there is no solution. There's going to be no confederation. There's going to be nothing until first the Jewish population in Israel says, we have a problem, we have to solve it. And confederation is the solution. But we have to accept that it's our responsibility. First, we have to accept there is a problem, not ignore it. Today, everything is going around. They're not addressing it, like the problem doesn't exist. First, there is a problem. Look at it. Don't blink. Then, we are the only one who can solve it. We have to take the thing, Larim Takfafa, as they say in Hebrew. We have to do it. And what is the solution? The only solution is confederation. But it will be Yugoslavia. It will fall apart. What we need to do, establish institutions, then encourage mutual trust and respect. And at the same time, bring and strengthen the Jewish identity so we don't get lost in the Middle East. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Adizes. Shlomo has a question, but I also have a go ahead, Shlomo, ask your question, and then we'll go on and have the audience ask questions.
Okay, I have many questions, but I will focus on two. I understand that what you're saying. I understand that you want to solve the problem. We all want to solve the problem. And the question is, do we really understand the source of the problem? And the source of the problem is Zionism. And even if you don't know anything about Zionism, and you don't know about the Nakba, and you don't know about anything, but when you see what happened in Gaza and in the West Bank, you must step back and say something was wrong with Zionism itself, number one. Number two, you ask who can solve the problem. You know who can solve the problem? Only the US can solve the problem. You and I can, yeah. If they give me and you a power, yes, we can definitely solve it. And Nasir and many others, and Joseph, of course. But otherwise, the only power that can solve it right now is the United States, and the United States of America is being captured. I don't know how and why. It is a mystery for me, but it is totally being captured by forces that are that want this to happen. And so I'm afraid that, and you're right, it will be Yugoslavia. The best case scenario will be Yugoslavia. It will be worse than that. But those are the two comments I have, and I leave it to you and to others. Thank you.
So what's your question?
I will answer that. Shlomo, you're right, but let me tell you what I have a solution which I would like to present to you, because I don't believe in international interventions. I don't believe. They did the interventions in Yugoslavia, look what they created. I don't believe in it. They tried to do it for and they follow their own interests. If you talk about the United States, it has its own interests. Listen, guys, United States is responsible for the war in Ukraine. I'm telling you that I know the inside works. We in America created that problem.
Yes.
Look, guys, let me tell you, I don't trust the United States, and I live in the United States. I don't trust America for between this eye to this eye. I'll
Yes.
tell you why.
Agree.
Look something. What is driving America, guys? And be careful. Self-interest to the extreme, period. Look at the self-interest. America has been at war every year, all the time, from 1950 on. At the list, all the wars America has been involved. They stop one war, they start another war, another war, another war. A whole war in Ukraine. What is driving that? Who is driving that? Eisenhower called them son of a bitches. Kennedy said, beware of them, they're very dangerous. 2 presidents of the United States said that.
Yes.
Who were they related to? To the military-industrial complex, selling armaments. They give Israel $1.5 billion money. They don't give them money. They give money to buy armaments. Now they gave another $1 billion to Ukraine. To do what? Buy armaments.
Yeah.
And we are going to rely on that. And they want also because of the oil. The moment the oil is not the problem anymore, we are dead. They're going to drop us like a hot potato. So to rely on them that they're going to solve a problem, oy vavoy. Let me tell you my solution. I'm Yugoslav. We need to solve our problem. How? I will tell you how I would do it. I will take $1 billion, Israel, and put it in a trust for the Palestinian people for their suffering and everything they lost. Because these guys, they did not create the Holocaust, and they're paying the price of the Holocaust. So something called fairness. We have to be fair. Tzedek, justice. Take $1 billion, put in a trust for the Palestinian people. Then another $1 billion investment in the trust. And now the Palestinian people and we, the Jewish people, are partners, 50-50. And take that money and make a Marshall Plan in Gaza and create the best tourist destination in the world. And great religious tourism in the West Bank, best in the world. And make the Palestinian people succeed and have a future. That's what we need to do. So I have a solution. Here's the solution.
I know. And you know, Ahad Ha'am is the solution in
No, the problem is, guys, we are scared. We are scared. We are scared. We are scared.
We are scared because we are thieves, because we stole this land. Remember this. And this is not me.
No, we are scared. We are scared of our future, and we are using power to solve the problem, which is making it worse. And changing that orientation, changing that behavior is guys, my field is organizational therapy. We need therapy or cultural therapy. We need, you know what we need? We really need a Jewish Mandela. And there is nobody in Israel now that can perform the function. Somebody's going to say, enough, guys. Let's have a future based on commonality, togetherness. There is no leader like that. I talked to Bennett. I told him my whole plan. I told him, be Jewish Mandela.
Bennett? Bennett is the last one.
I'm just telling you, he has a potential because he comes from the high tech, so he knows that part of the world. He knows the Messianic and he's religious. Wow, he could be the bridge.
He is one of the sources of the problem.
I know that, so he's not. I talk a lot to Golan, but he doesn't have the capability to pull it up. So we are stuck, and they're stuck, Shlomo and everybody else, by fear. I cannot sleep at night about it. Is we might go into a
Disaster.
final solution.
Yeah.
God forbid. And when that happens, help us all. They're going to be hunting Jews in the streets like rats.
Yes.
The Jews of the world will be in trouble.
Yes.
We are in front of a Holocaust worse than the Holocaust of the Second World War. That's what is facing us.
Yes.
All right, let's go to Nasir.
Thank you, Joseph. Mr. Adizes, I want to follow up on what my friend Shlomo said, because I know that what you said about the United States' motivation, what you said about the United States' conduct is absolutely correct.
Gavin, what's up?
However, we have to take it into consideration because the United States, even though their intentions may be selfish, maybe controlling to sell weapons or to dominate, control oil, the fact is Israel uses this, and as long as it exists, we have to take it into consideration because it's a factor why Israel will not follow any other path. We have an Israeli government, whether it be liberal, whether it be Naftali Bennett or Benny Gantz or Yair Lapid or Labor or Likud. These people will not be motivated because they know that the United States can be counted on to supply unlimited diplomatic support, military support, financial support. So although you're saying that we don't trust the West, we don't do this, but the fact is that the government of Israel, and I will say so far to even say the Israeli people themselves, they don't seem to be motivated. They're not going to wake up consciously and say, you know what, maybe we did do a bad thing to the Palestinians. Let us try to resolve this. Unfortunately, we have to take this into consideration because we are, the Israeli people and the Palestinian people are the two smallest entities in the Middle East. I don't think there's any other group that are smaller than us as far as nation state, not considering the Druze and some other people. So this is why these factors are very important. So how do we maneuver? How do we maneuver when it comes to that? And this could be, maybe in your opinion, what you talked about, the new rise of anti-Semitism that we see now, that it may actually start to force Israel to change its ways, because I don't think that in the next 5 years, Israel will be able to rely on support from the West like they do now. And this needs to be, how should we say this? It has to be taken into consideration, because I believe in the next 5-10 years, if things stay the same, Israel will be in a worse situation. And so therefore, it's better to negotiate and make a deal while you're in power than rather when you're weakened. I think I said a lot. Maybe I got off point, but that was my point.
I don't know how to react to you, my friend. I agree with you. We rely on America too much because it's the same with the policy that we have today, using power. We need America. But the solution I gave you based on faith. And we create Marshall Plan in Gaza. And we show to the Palestinians that we want their well-being rather than to beat them up. And build them up together. Build them up. They suffered enough. Help them build them up. And build a commonality to work together. I don't need for that America. I don't need America for that. I don't need it. And I don't think America will oppose it. Because then the interest of America is, let me give it 2 minutes, please. Again, with my experience working in Yugoslavia, I was talking to the head of the intelligence there, and he told me, you guys don't understand what's going on. I say, okay, what's going on? He says, because they anticipated war between Muslim and Christianity, we need to build a new wall. America and the West has to build a new wall. The wall between capitalism and communism is irrelevant anymore. That's why it fell down. There is a new wall being won. I said, what is that new wall? Well, look at it. Afghanistan, go down. You went to, at that time, by the way, there was no war yet in Iraq. You go to Afghanistan, Iraq, keep going, he says. Israel, go up. Kosovo, Bosnia, here is the wall. And the West is building that wall. So we are part of that wall. So they need us. But that wall doesn't have to be based on power and fight. It can be a wall based on collaboration. Not all Muslims are hostile. I was saved, my family, my parents and me, were saved in the Second World War by Muslims. I owe my life to Muslims. Which Muslims? Albanian Muslims, which are not hostile. Some of my best friends are from Azerbaijan. They're not hostile. And some Palestinians are not hostile. We brand them, that they're all, animals. We cannot make peace with all of them. This is racism. There are peaceful Palestinians too. So we can build the wall based on peace rather than wall based on hate. I don't think we need America to solve the problem. We need ourselves. And we have the capability. We have the capability to solve it. We even have the money. If you look at it as a percentage of the GDP, how much is $2 billion? It's a joke. Paid over 20 years, it's a joke. We just have to change from living on fear to living with faith. And that change is not easy. It's therapeutic need that has to be done. And we need a leader that's capable of making the transition. And that's what we don't have. That's what the whole is.
Yeah, you can have the best leader. He will be murdered the day after he's being there.
That's true too. But we don't have a choice, guys. Give me a better solution immediately, I'll go for it. We don't have a choice. We have to.
Let's go to Una.
Who else wants to talk?
Yeah,
Yes,
hi,
sir.
Una.
Hi, Joseph, nice to see you again. And what you're doing, I have to say, totally amazing. The gentleman, Ichak, I hope I'm not killing your name, Ichak, you are very confusing.
It is Yitzhak. But when I came
Yitzhak.
to America and I told a beautiful woman, hi, my name is Yitzhak, she said, hug you, and she walked away. So I changed my name to Ichak.
Ichak, thank you very much. Okay, now you're confusing me. First of all, let's start from the beginning, if there was a beginning. In 1948, the Palestinians invited the Jew from Europe to come to them because they were being persecuted by Europe. Therefore, number one, the Palestinians are not guilty for what has happened to the Jew, number one. Therefore, at the moment, the world is trying to atone itself, especially Germany, who is trying to pretend they are for Israel. To me, as far as I'm concerned, I do like Joseph's solution because Israel is not a legal country. They stole the land to people called Palestine. And they are trying to make you believe that they are the victims of that war. It's not a war, it's a carnage. To have a war, you need two people with the same strength. Therefore, don't make me cry about Israel because I've had enough. Now, because I'm a Jew, because of Israel, people are going to hate the Jew. Well, thank you very much, Israel, because you've done a total cock-up of the world. Now, thanks to them as well, we are going to have maybe WW3. Now, my solution, one state with equal right, and if people in Israel don't like it, they bugger off where they come from, France, England, whatever. But we are in jeopardy. The biggest cancer now we have is Israel. Deal with it. What are you going to do about it? I'm so angry. I've lost so many friends. If you know, doctors, journalists, teachers, I've had enough. And I'm sick and tired of Israel. That's my viewpoint. Thank you. And Joseph, you're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you.
I appreciate your saying. I couldn't follow it very well, I admit. but I know you're talking with passion, so you probably have a very strong opinion, Olivia. Thank you. I could not follow. Sorry.
All right, let's go to Phil.
Okay, hi everyone. Okay, so I just want to say at the outset that I agree with the vast majority of what Ichak has said to us. And I just would like to note a few very important points he made. Number one, we need a federal solution, and we must make sure it becomes like Switzerland, not Yugoslavia. Number two, we cannot in any way ignore or dismiss trauma or fear or religion, things that are central parts of the situation. And just because we feel like, oh, it's all overdone, it's irrational, and if we just got ourselves out of those things, then we'd be able to solve the problems. You can't do that. We don't have a magic wand. Okay. Number three, he said we need a culture of mutual respect without losing our identities. And identities are so important in this land. You can't whitewash them away. And so actually at one point, you use the words, we are all one. And I actually choked at that point because whilst we are all humans and we need to find a way to get along, we aren't all one. And the idea of trying to pretend that we're all one people, isn't possible. We need to actually cherish the fact that we are different and the opportunities that are inherent in that diversity. So the important thing is to recognize multiple identities, the pluralism, not the unity. Number five, we need therapy, no question, absolutely right. And we need joint education to build mutual understanding so that we can speak each other's languages and understand each other's histories. And no intolerance should be allowed. Absolutely right. However, the idea that Israel is the only one who can fix it, I would disagree. I don't think Israel can do it alone, because we would be led by our own agendas, even though, of course, we are the most powerful force in this area at the moment. And if we would take it upon ourselves to do it all by ourselves, then that would be wonderful. But we know that that's not the reality. And so we have to do it conjointly. And I wish that on October the 8th, Israel had decided not to tackle the thing alone, as Israel always does, and then make a hell of a mess out of it. We should have, in fact, formed a coalition of the willing in some ways, okay, and decided together with everybody facing the situation after October the 7th, that what are we all going to do about this together, including the hostages? Many of the hostages were, maybe some still are, foreign citizens. It was a huge opportunity to collectively decide to do something about the problems, and it was squandered because Israel decided to go it alone. So whilst, of course, Israel has to be a part of it, we need support to be able to do that. Okay, now number 7, yes, this is an unfolding disaster, and it is just going to get worse and worse and worse while we remain in this current trajectory. But no, we are not stuck. Okay, things are developing in all kinds of directions, and some of them are even positive. So, for example, the Abraham Accords is a recent positive development. Okay, now it's not being organized in the right way, but nevertheless, there are some positives that we can look at. First of all, that Switzerland exists and proves it's possible. We're aware that the situation here in the Middle East is far more complex, and so it's a much bigger job to build a Switzerland here, but it could be done. There are instances in this land of coexistence. I could say that Israelis, Jews, and Arabs with Israeli citizenship do have a successful kind of coexistence. It's not entirely equal the way it should be, but nevertheless, it presents plenty of hope. And I can tell you, where I live and in other areas, there are close positive examples of coexistence, even between Israeli citizens and Palestinian citizens, that prove it's possible. And there are huge opportunities if we choose to grasp them together. And the last one I'll mention is earlier on the call, we did have Dr. Hanno Schultz. He is developing something called civil democracy and was wanting to talk about the possibilities that would bring to our land, because we have very complex needs. And so that is also, there are many things that could be grasped to get us out of this hell and the current trajectory. But yeah, we can't ignore any of the parts of the problem. Okay, so those are my comments. But in a nutshell, I agree with your summary. So those are just small comments.
Phil, I agree with you. Israel should not do it alone, cannot do it alone, but it needs to lead. Somebody has to lead the process. Number one. Number two, the Abraham Accord is not addressing the Palestinian problem. It's like I have a problem with my wife and I try to solve the problem of my neighbor.
Agreed.
You know, we are not looking at the problem in Israel. We are not looking at the problem. We are going around and around, but not looking at the problem in the middle of the room, which is the Palestinian problem. We are not addressing the real problem. And here's another thing which is very strange for being Jewish to do it. We are not proacting, we are reacting. And we are acting the Hamas scenario. They are doing us, they're dancing us. We're like puppets. They're dancing us. Look, they did October 7. You know what it was? It is my judgment. They know they cannot defeat Israel by themselves. No way. They tried several wars and they lost all the wars. But if they turn the whole world against Israel, they have a chance. So they did the most incredible, horrific act, October 7, to make Israel so angry that they're going to destroy Gaza. They're going to really do it. That's what they wanted. They actually said they're willing to sacrifice 1 million Palestinians to win the war. And they're doing it. And we are following the script to the letter. And we destroy Gaza. They're not upset. They say, great, look what's happening. The whole world is against you. Guys, if you want to know what's going to happen in the future, look what's happening in the campuses. These are the future leaders of the country. And they're going to destroy us. They're going to isolate us. The whole world is turning against us. And they're all pro-Hamas. Countries are turning against us already. So that's what they did. They created scenario and we played their scenario to the letter, to our own destruction. Why they're not giving us the abducted people? They're not giving us. They want to continue the war, continue killing, continue destroying. Come on in, come on in. And the more we do that, the whole world is getting anti-Semitic. And what do? We say, oh, anti-Semitism, there is nothing we can do. So we do nothing. To self-destruction. It is really tragic. I'm raising my voice because I'm very, very upset because what's going on and because I'm scared where it is going to. I'm scared to where it's going to.
Let's go to Fumiko.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just agreed with many things what Ichak said, but to me, it's just the first priority. What is the first priority? Priority is still genocide is going on. Many kids and then women they're dying, and so many people dying, and suddenly as well as some Israeli, even soldiers, right? And so that's okay. That's I think first priority. That should appeal to the human nature. Okay, that's a very common universal value, I think every people understand the basic value, like humanity. Okay, and then so what's going on? And so at the same time, of course, we have to work on, for example, the Joseph Son's idea project, okay, and Federation, project, and we have to work on very hard to raise more and more awareness of the conflict, serious atrocity, crime by Israeli. And so that's the two things. At the same time, we have to work on it. And then I want to insist on saying that, okay, we have to pressure more international pressure on Israel. That what they're doing is, I don't understand why Israel, okay, smart Israel people don't understand, okay, and people were just, okay, that's enough. We don't want to make a trade. Finally, trade with Israel. Finally, some countries agreed upon, okay, they just disembark. Okay, just I think what 1 day ago, so just in Greece, it happened. Okay, we don't let you allow to get shore. Okay, and so things like that. So that means, okay, so people in the world are getting aware of what's really going on. Okay? And so I think that's more I think important. But okay, international community pressure through grassroots movement. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, let's go to Nidali.
Yes, hello.
Hello, Nidali.
Hi. Okay, so I did put a question in the chat. I know it's too many questions, and I think mine was probably not answered, and that's fine. But I asked, I'm gonna scroll back up there. Okay, so I asked. Oh yeah, I said, are you really? I was saying that to I'm addressing my question to. Sorry for the background noise. Oh, I don't know if it's loud enough. Okay. I said, my question is, are you really saying the problem was caused by the United States and Israel? That is what I gather. So that was what I put in the chat. I'm trying to understand. Someone said, I think it's what's his name? Ichak, our presenter. I think you mentioned that the problem is caused by, and you said in quotes, us, Israelis. And then I think, I think you later on said that it's also the United States again that caused it, and that the US has their own interest, and that they even caused the problem. So I'm trying to understand something. Are you saying it's both Israel and United States that caused this problem that you're talking about?
No. Nidal,
Mhm.
I was misspoken and you misunderstood me. No. I said that to rely on America to solve the problem is wrong because they have their own interest.
Mm-hmm.
They created the problem in Ukraine, not in Israel. They created the problem in Ukraine. So that's what I think you misunderstood me.
Sorry, I did.
In Ukraine, they created the problem in Ukraine. Yes, they did. But in my judgment, in my knowledge too. But they didn't create the problem in Israel. The problem in Israel was created. How was the problem created was that we needed a home after the Holocaust. And we went to our home that was that we have been praying to go to for 2,000 years. We went back to what was really our home. But that home was already occupied by somebody else. And now we have two nations claiming the same demand for the same land. So we need to split it somehow, and we have to live together somehow. That's all there is to it. There is no other solution. Both nations have the right to be there. They have the right to be there, and they desire to be there. And there is no other solution but to come to that recognition that none is going to disappear and none is going to leave the place. So we better learn how to live together. That's it. But
Okay,
it's not going to be based. It's not going to be based only by institutions and by parliaments and by some structure. It has to be. It must be based on. It must be based on a culture of mutual trust and respect. Otherwise, it will be Yugoslavia and it will fall apart sooner or later.
Okay. Okay, so what about this recent bombing of the Catholic Church? It was in the news in Palestine. Um, so it was done by obviously Israelis, I believe so. But it was noted that it looks like that's the last church. Actually, that was the only church left in Palestine, and it's been bombed. So it was bombed so in a couple of weeks. I don't know when exactly. Like recently, it was bombed. So there are no more churches. Well, I want to.
No,
I
that's
don't want
not
to say.
true. That's not true. There's no more churches in
No,
Palestine.
I'm
That
sorry.
was
No more Catholic churches.
no,
Sorry, it's
there's
a
still
Catholic
Catholic.
church.
Listen. The church that was bombed was a Catholic church in Gaza. We have several Catholic churches in other parts of Palestine.
Okay, then, but that's what it said in the news that was the only church left.
Yeah,
Sorry, though, my mistake.
maybe in Gaza, but
Gaza,
as
Oh
far
yeah,
as
in Gaza. I think
but
it's in
remember
Gaza. I'm sorry.
Palestine is West Bank and other parts
Yes,
of the country.
I think it's in Gaza, just in Gaza. I'm sorry. But still, though, okay, but there's something I wanted to point out here. What I've been gathering from all this conflict and war, I like that. I don't know who said that. Someone said it's good to start rebuilding Palestine and acknowledge that it's not their fault, that they are not the one that started even this problem, and that it's been Israel attacking and disturbing so much, causing the war in a way. And that it's time to start taking care of Palestine and paying back the damages that was brought upon them. So, but this is what I've been gathering though. If you notice the war, yeah, okay. I'm not trying to say that I agree. I don't know who is attacking. I think Israel has been attacking Palestine, but it's been other people too. But I feel that Palestine too have been doing their own too. Are you saying that they've been retaliating or they have been attacking intentionally? So I'm just trying to understand why they shouldn't be blamed for the problem and why they should be taken care of. And someone was saying it's not them, they're not to be blamed, and that they're actually the oppressed, something like that. But what I've been gathering is that they have been fighting back or just fighting, and it looks like they don't even they kind of like that the war is going on, or they've been causing the war. And so how are you supposed to rebuild Palestine when they are fighting? Like they it looks like they just like that the war is going on and on or something.
I think you're absolutely right. You cannot have peace with war. You can have only peace with peace. So I think I'm sorry about the church, but the problem with the Hamas is they use civilians as their shield. They fight out of hospitals. They fight out of schools. They fight out of their own religious institutions, including the church, so that Israel will attack and so that Israel will kill Palestinians, so that the world will turn against Israel and they will win the war that way. They're willing to sacrifice. That's why they're using civilians as a shield.
It's not
And
true.
we are stuck. Unfortunately, we are playing their game.
No,
We're playing
Itzhak,
their game.
you're misinformed in several ways, and the Israeli media is lying nonstop. Israeli media, even on this October 7, the proof is that there has not been any investigation, serious investigation. They don't allow any foreign journalists, any foreign forensic to check what happened. There was a Hannibal directive. There was this and that, and they came with all kind of nonsense about killing, slaughtering children and mass rape and all of that. Who are the mass rapists? The Israelis in Sde Teiman. Come on. So how can you believe Israel now? Israel behave exactly like the Nazi Germany when they put in Stresenstadt, they put some an example of how great
Right.
the Jews are being treated. It's the same way here. We are lying and lying and lying and lying, and most people buy something. And it's not true that they are not there hiding in a hospital. This is a ugly lie. Israel is determined to destroy Gaza to the bottom, to destroy all the hospital, to destroy all the healthcare, everything. They want Gaza to disappear, the Gazans to disappear from the face of the earth. And unfortunately, I totally with you about my fear. At the end, this is chapter 1. Chapter 2 will be Holocaust in Gaza, chapter 1, Holocaust in Israel, chapter 2, and chapter 3, Holocaust for all the Jews. And I'm fully, I cannot sleep at night too for the last 2 years. What is
agree.
they thinking? What they are thinking they are doing? And you want a leader? You cannot have a leader when you don't have a people. Most of the people in Israel are for extermination. So how can you, what leader you're talking about? You have to replace the people before you have a leader. And the same is the United States. You want one leader, you want a great leader in the United States too. Well, look who you have. You have Biden, and then you have Trump. You know, it's a joke. Something is so wrong, and it's so difficult to fix. I agree. I'm sorry. One more word. What Una was trying to say in one word is she is for one state solution. And in fact, the one-state solution is the most prevalent now thought all over the world. And you know what? Maybe that's not too bad. Of course, I'm like you. I'm worried because I think the after the Holocaust in Gaza and then half Holocaust in the West Bank, I don't know. I mean, if you and I were Arabs, were Palestinians, what would we want to do? So and after we stole their land, so there are too much is going on, and I don't know. I'm out of solutions. So thank you for, and I agree. Confederate. This is why I'm here. I'm here because what else is there? I mean, we need to try. Thank you.
All right, let's go to Sean. Sean, you need to unmute. Sean.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. For this, what's his name? Ichak, our guest.
Ichak Kalderon Adizes.
You
Yes,
said
thank
they
you.
have.
Ichaka, yeah. It's so hard to pronounce his name.
Yeah, Ichak, you said they have to compromise and they have to, share the land with each other. But you're saying the Israelis are saying that this is their homeland, so it just doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. Like, how could they say it's their homeland at the same time saying that you have to share it? I don't understand that perspective.
I didn't understand. Can you tell me, Joseph? Can you repeat what he said because I couldn't understand what he said?
I said you said the Jews, this is their homeland. That's the Jews went there because it's their homeland. But at the same time, you said they have to share the land. You know, I don't understand that. How are you even? I don't understand that. You said they have to share the land, but they claim it's their homeland. Like some Jews believe in their mindset that it's their homeland and only for their homeland. And then you told that they have to share it. I don't understand.
I don't see the incompatibility here. The Jews have a homeland and the Palestinians have a homeland. The two states working together as a confederation. That's the whole idea. It is everybody has his own, but we are all together. Look, guys, here is a symbol of my methodology, by the way, so that everybody understands what I'm saying. You go to any church, and in Israel, it's not a church, it's called the Khamsa. And even in India, they have the same thing. The saints stand like this. Why are they standing like this? What does this symbolize? Look at this. Different together. That's a blessing. What they're saying, in a sense, is be different, but together, and recognize each other's differences and work together.
Not all of them have the same mindset. Everybody that some Israelis
I agree. See, what happens is many fanatic religions, fanatic political parties believe the only way to be together is if we are all the same. Communism, racism, fanatic religions. The only way to be together is if we are all the same. Sameness is desert. There is no cross-pollination. There is no learning. There is no growth. This is synergy. Difference creates synergy. Sameness creates death. And now what we need to do is learn how to work together. Now, the problem is that we don't have this in the Middle East. What we have in the Middle East is this. And this is a curse. In the Middle East, when they do this in front of your face, they're telling you, a curse, be different, not together. Nah. And that's what the Middle East is. When we have to learn how to do this, how do we do that? We need somebody to unite us. We need somebody to unite us. Who is
what
going
is
to unite
your
us?
what is your plan? What is your idea?
My idea?
Yeah, to go forward with what you're saying. Yes.
I to tell the truth is the way to solve it, I need to find somebody who is going to act as a Mandela, Jewish Mandela. We need a Jewish Mandela. We need a leadership. But one of the speakers here was absolutely right. If the people are not ready, this leader is not going to emerge. So what we need to do is spread the message. That's the best we can do. That's why I'm speaking here. Spread the message. Guys, we don't have a choice if we want to survive. If we don't want to take the world down the drain, we might take the world down the drain. We might be the cause of the problem. We might be igniting the war that everybody is expecting between the Muslims and the Christianity. We might ignite it. If we don't want that to happen, we have to spread the message to the Israeli people that we need to change. We need to change. We always expect the other party to change, like in a divorce. Why she has to change? No. We have to change. We have to start. As I said, take $1 billion, put in a trust for the Palestinian people, so they don't have this right of return problem. Give them another $1 billion and let's be partners. Let's be partners. And let's rebuild Gaza together and let's make Palestinian state successful economically. We need to change, and we have the money and we have the capability. The problem is we don't have the intent. We are living of fear. That's the problem. We cannot do it until we change our fear to faith. And we don't have. We are also
No more
we are
questions.
scared. We are scared of multiple scares. We have multiple scares. We are afraid that if we get close to the Palestinians, God forbid, my daughter might marry a Palestinian. That's why we're separating. We always lived in a ghetto. Israel is a new ghetto.
Exactly.
Israel is another ghetto. We create ghetto. Wherever we go, we create ghetto. So we created the ghetto in the Middle East.
Let's go to
Because
Nasir.
we are afraid of assimilation. We are afraid to be together. We are afraid of somebody else. We are afraid. Everything is based on afraid. Everything is based on fear.
Nasir, you have a question?
Yeah, I wanted to touch base on what my friend Phil was saying earlier about Itzhak. I really appreciate a lot of what you say, but I'm going to be a little bit critical if you don't mind.
Sure.
Because I think we agree. The only thing is that I think that the mentality you mentioned something earlier about the Israelis have this mentality, and I think they developed it in the 40s, the 50s, and followed it in the 60s, that we have to be tough, that the only way to deal with the Arabs is to be tough with them, to beat them, because the Arabs don't understand any language. And I think that this is something that is in the mentality of Israelis today. And that this meant, and the thing is that most Israelis who actually do know Palestinians, who work with them, like I'm Palestinian, by the way, I'm from Jerusalem. And most Israelis that I interact, they, after knowing a Palestinian and working with them or becoming a friend with them, tell me like, you know, you guys are actually nice people. You guys, you know, you're you know, you guys, like, one Israeli guy said to me a few months ago, he said, when I need something, the most person that's most dependable, like when I'm in need, if it's like food or hunger or money, is actually my Palestinian friends. They'll come to me faster than my Israeli friends. And I think that this is something that many Israelis don't, and it's because we're separated. In our country, we're separated from each other. It's almost like it's purposely done to keep us separated, because if I know Phil, I might say, you know, these guys are actually nice. If I know Joseph, I'll say, this guy's actually a nice guy. And he might say the same about me. So the other thing is that I think that your ideas need to incorporate a new reality. And that is a new reality of what Phil was talking about. You see, first of all, I'm Palestinian, and then I'm a Levantine Arab, and then I'm a citizen of the Levant or person of the Levant. And one thing about the Levant is that, just like Phil said, we're a very diverse people, even before Israel. We have Druze, we have Muslims, we have Christians, we have Jews, we have Kurds, we have so many people. The Levant has always been diverse. So to say that we're a melting pot and we're all this, we can say that we share a Levant culture, and it crosses like my Palestinian Christian friends and I. Sometimes we don't know who's who, because we have a Levant culture, and it's different from that. Like when I went to Turkey, I lived in Dubai for 3 years, and I was visiting Turkey a few years ago, and I said to myself, I feel more Palestinian in Turkey than I did in the UAE, where I lived for 3 years, with Arab people who spoke Arabic, who practiced the same religion, Islam, as me. But in Greece and in Turkey, who in Greece, they practice a different religion, they speak a different language. In Turkey, they speak a different language. But I was more at home there with the food, with the way people dressed and get together, because there's a certain culture. So why in this where we're in the stage we are now, is that it has to be sort of an inclusive thing. Because if we come to something and say, you know, secularism, et cetera, it turns a lot of people. Unfortunately, we have deep religion and deep cultural values. This is part of our culture. This is part of Levant. So anytime you come and say, let's bring this Western concept of, you know, socialism, democratic socialism, secularism and stuff, it doesn't. So we have to find a way. Maybe you can incorporate this in what you say, to embrace the modern state, constitutionalism, which I think is universal, no matter where you are. Constitutionalism of like a constitution that says, this is what your rights are. This is the obligation of the government, and this is your role and your rights as a citizen. Maybe this needs to be incorporated, and this can be accepted by Jews. It can be accepted by Islam, by Christianity, and everybody in the region. Because the question here is equality and overcoming how one group thinks they are supremacist over another. Because in the end, we are all Levantine. This is our culture, and this is the land who it belongs to. And it's been like that for thousands of years. There has never, ever been a time in Palestine where it was exclusively Jewish, where it was exclusively anybody. Palestine has always been the land of several people who've lived together, who have people indigenous there, whether they be Canaanites, whether they be Jewish, whether they be Arabs and stuff. There's always been Arabs in Palestine. Arabs didn't come to Palestine in the 7th century like so many Zionists say. There were Arabs there before, and they are today. So this new kind of mentality is necessary, because we have to fix the suit to fit us, not bring a suit that doesn't fit and put it on us, you know?
I cannot agree with you more, my dear friend. We knew a new reality, but I think what I'm constantly repeating, and maybe in different words, is before we try to change others, we have to change ourselves. And our culture, because of 2,000 years of persecution, is based on fear. We fear assimilation. We fear losing our identity. We fear, we fear all the time. We live in fear. The typical Israeli, typical Jew is already preparing where is he going to move next? You know, if something happens. And like you ask your mother, what should I study? Study to be a doctor. Why? Because you could be a doctor anywhere, my son. What does the word anywhere? Where are we going to escape to next? And as long as we live in fear, there's going to be no peace. And I think that is the change, the new reality we have to build. And how? One thing is to strengthen our Jewish identity so we no fear that we are going to be lost and affiliated and the Jewishness will disappear. Because it's already happening. Too many people in Israel are telling me, I'm Hebrew. I'm not Jewish. As a matter of fact, they even don't like the Jewish people because they'll call them parasites. You know what's going on? We're departing from the Judaism. Where are we going to go next? You cannot make peace with somebody different unless you're strong with who you are. And we are not strong who we are.
What's so wrong about assimilation?
That's a very good question. That maybe, you know, by the way, I saw I saw a play in the 1970s in Tzavta, two people on the stage, Herzl and Shabtai Tzvi. And at a certain point in the play, Shabtai Tzvi says to Herzl, maybe you too are a Messiah, false Messiah.
He's right. He was right.
You know, Shabtai Tzvi took thousands and thousands of Jews and made them Muslims. And Herzl is going to make thousands of people, God knows what, disappear. Then the Judaism is going to suffer another Holocaust. What is it? We are going to disappear. Now the question is, why should we exist? I had this problem just last week with a very, very important Israeli. He spent the whole day here with me, very important. He was a member of the government, I don't want to mention his name. He says, why should these Jewish people survive? Why is it so important that Judaism should survive? Wow.
I agree.
Well,
Yeah.
now we have a real question. Now we have a real question. And that's maybe the Orthodox Jews they do not like us. Because we are the ones that are going to disappear. And the Judaism is not going to continue. So why we existed for 2,000 years? What the hell is the idea? Enough. Why don't we all disappear? All we get assimilated and the problem is done. Okay? That is the source of the problem. Not the source. Well, that's where it all starts. Do you want Judaism to continue or not?
But do you talk about Jews as a nation or Jews as the people who hold a religion called Judaism? That's a major question.
Oh, yeah, very good question. See, I think it used to be nation and Jude and religion were the same. Now you have the Jewish nation. It doesn't have to be Jewish. They call themselves Hebrews. Call themselves, you know, I'm not Jewish. I'm Israeli. And they don't assimilate. They don't affiliate with the Jews. I'm telling you, it's not here. I'm here. I live in California. The Jews here have nothing to do. Sorry, the Israelis have nothing to do with the Jewish population. They don't go to the synagogue. They don't contribute. They're separate.
No, paradoxically, Israel is anti-Semitic. And they promote anti-Semitism because without anti-Semitism, there is no Zionism.
You might be, I don't know whether you mean what you say, that we can be, the Jewish people, the Israelis can become very anti-Semitic. I will not be surprised. I will not be surprised because what's happening in Israel with these religious parties, they only care for themselves and they don't care for the country. The country really for them is it's a danger to Judaism. The country is a danger to Judaism. They're anti-Zionist.
And I must admit that the more I think about it, the more I see that they are right. I'm sorry to say. Israel is danger for Judaism and for Jews. And you yourself know it because you said what the scenario that you
The way, you're right. The way it is, it's bad. It doesn't have to be this way.
Yeah.
It does not have to be this way.
Yeah, I agree.
The problem is that we lost our way. We lost our way. We don't have a strategy. We don't have a direction. We have nothing. And you know what scares me? Everybody thinks, oh, there are going to be new elections. We are going to get rid of Netanyahu, and the new people are going to make peace. Huh? Good luck. They're not united. The opposition is not united. They're going to get to power. They're going to continue fighting among themselves, and nothing will change.
Yeah.
All right. I think it's time to conclude. Thank you so much, Dr. Adizes, for your time and for answering your question and for your generosity in giving us your opinion. I hope you continue to participate in our future simulations and grow with us as a organization. I also hope that you would send me an email with your support for our to be included in our website. Also, if other people want to be included, I would appreciate that. Send me an email with your bio and your picture supporting our website and supporting our Concert for Peace. So thank you all for joining. Thank you again, Dr. Adizes, and hope to see you again. We have an interesting a meeting on August 17, in which we will discuss the Constitution and we will discuss the legislation for federal government. All right. Thank you.
Joseph. Say hi to your grandchildren.